What? It's the ill pandemic. Whoa. It's got no relation, man, cause we ain't got no limits, yeah? Should've told you.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Hero Talk. I'm host Christopher Orangeo. We have about 3 episodes left. This episode, I interviewed Quentin J. Goodwin, QJ. His stage name is Coyote, Kai.toi. I've used some of his music in the episodes at the beginning of it, so I'm sure you've heard some of his songs. The interview consists of what he contributed to Healing Heroes, how he uses his own personal feelings in his other projects, and we also talk about, what we're into nowadays, music-wise, movies, all that. Quentin recently moved up to Brooklyn, New York from Charlotte, North Carolina. Him and I actually met through a Childish Gambino Facebook group on Facebook, which is really funny and silly. When he moved up here, we finally got to meet. We started collaborating on stuff, and he's been a part of a few podcasts that you've heard so far. He was on Wakande Murray's episode and Alyssa Klee's episode. So, like I said, we have 3 more episodes left. We have Quentin. We got a chance to interview Mark Epperson, and then Steve Hanisch got to interview me for the final episode as a wrap-up kind of thing. So I hope you enjoy this episode, and yeah. The music featured in our episode today is from the artist Coyote. That's Kai.OTI. His Instagram name and SoundCloud name are Kai.OTI. And if you have a Bandcamp, go follow him at kai-oti.bandcamp.com. Oh, and also, if you have not yet followed Healing Heroes on Instagram or Twitter yet, yeah, you should go do that. It's Healing Heroes _ for both Twitter and Instagram. Hey everyone, what's going on? Here's your host, Chris Orangeo. I'm with Quentin.
Hey.
Goodwin?
Yeah, Quentin Goodwin, yeah. Quentin J. Goodwin.
Quentin QJ.
I'm Quentin Garrett, and then Quentin J. Goodwin professionally.
Nice. Where'd the J come from?
It's my middle name, Jacoby.
And what about Garrett?
Garrett is my father's name.
Oh, nice.
But I go with my grandfather's name as my pen name.
Well, your middle name is, I'm sorry,
Jacoby.
Jacoby, nice,
yeah,
nice.
Like Jacob and Kobe.
Okay, nice. All right.
Yeah.
That's sweet. Yeah, we're getting together. I didn't honestly really plan out the podcast all that well. I had 5 at least.
Oh, yeah.
I knew I was always going to interview you.
Right.
You actually joined in on 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With Wakande, which was episode 3.
That was a lot of fun. Yeah.
And then Alyssa was episode 5.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun because they were in New York. You're based out of there. So now people may have heard you talk here and there in episodes, but why don't you kind of give everyone a reintroduction of like who you are, what you do.
That's fine. Okay. I'm like I said, I'm Quentin J. Goodwin. I'm from originally from Charlotte, North Carolina. Moved up to New York City fairly recently, within the last few months or so.
Yeah.
And
probably May, right?
June.
June. Okay.
Yeah, mid-June. And I'm a writer, musician, kind of aspiring Renaissance man.
Yeah.
Like, trying to get in my Donald Glover phase.
Yeah.
Like just doing everything in the entertainment business.
Yes.
But,
you want to break into acting?
Right? Yeah, definitely want to break into acting at some point. I don't know if I exactly have the self-esteem for it at the moment, but I'm working on it.
No, I don't know any actor who I don't know any actor who has self-esteem. So maybe
because I don't know how I'll feel about seeing myself on camera. I'm probably gonna avoid it for a little while, and then
that's so weird. It's just weird because I don't know. I don't care about seeing myself on camera.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm like, I look like a. Just unhealthy. Like I might just look very unhealthy on camera, big dude. But I don't know. I don't really mind it. I think
I might have gotten over. I don't know if you ever have gotten over the phase of like what people think about your work.
Yeah, I do.
Probably your music. Or
I've recently gotten out of it. I've sort of figured out what I'm doing it for just recently. Not just recently, but within the last few months or so. And it kind of gave me a clarity to where now I don't care as much about criticisms and stuff like that.
That's always good.
Yeah, it's one step at a time though, because that's just the music. Like with anything else, it's still going to be pretty high because I feel like I'm still developing myself.
Yeah, you just wrapped up an album, right?
Yeah, I just finished recording.
Wrapped up recording, process.
Yeah, it's in the production.
What's the album called?
It's called Third Stone Parties. Yeah,
nice.
It's going to be pretty exciting. It started as an EP, now it's a full-blown album.
Sweet.
I'm going to be sitting on it for a little while.
I didn't know it was called that, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
No, I thought it was something else.
No, yeah, it started as like Third Stone.
Yeah.
And then I added Third Stone Parties to hold out the theme that I was trying to go with.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet.
But for those of you who don't know, I do rap music. It's like I always say it's like a cross. It's like if Jimi Hendrix and Erykah Badu had a baby that was raised by J. Cole and Kid Cudi, and that would be my music.
That is a really great reference. You gotta get that copywritten or something.
Right.
No, your music is very it's interesting. I don't know, like when you hear people's music at like independent level.
Yeah.
The quality doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
But yours is like, I don't know, like I probably sound basic whenever you're like, hey, listen to my album. You've told me to listen to a few of your projects.
Yeah.
I feel bad when I'm like, I give basic answers, but it's like,
no, it's fine.
The production level of it is insane. It just sounds clean.
Thanks,
and
man, yeah.
You can tell it sounds clean because you play it in a car, headphones, on your Xbox. Like you just play it everywhere, and it all sounds good.
Sounds clean in any medium. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's really interesting. But
you've been listening to me since before I was getting it professionally mixed. Too,
yeah. We go kind of way back through a Childish Gambino fan base group on Facebook. Where I've actually grown to have a handful of friends from there. I've met a few in person, but that's pretty interesting. But we all kind of, I don't even know how we started talking, but like we found out we are into once you're into one artist or music, what else do you like? And you find out, I want to write movies, I want to do this, I want to do that. So
yeah, I think we connected because the movies, just like interest in film. And, I think we connected mostly because of our conversations about like the passion that we have and how other people lack it a lot of the times. And
pretty much, man. I try and keep that on the down low, but I have a really I definitely agree, man. Like people's like the more you're into it,
you're either in it.
You're either into it for one reason or you're doing it for the wrong reason.
Exactly. Yeah.
But no, going back to the movie thing. I told my uncle today I was hanging out with Quentin. He's like, Tarantino? I was like, that's actually his mom named him after that. So I thought that was very interesting.
Right.
Because like I said,
that's my favorite director.
Yeah, is it? Oh, of course, yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, my name's just Chris. Like, we talked about this, just Chris. But
right. I mean, you got like every
Chris Evans,
the Marvel universe.
Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
Chris Downey Jr.
Pratt.
No, I'm kidding. Yeah, Chris Pratt. Yeah. You were. From afar, you were heavily, you were a big team player in Healing Heroes.
Right.
The more we do these episodes, the more I reveal information.
Right.
So I'm sure everyone has heard this again, but I'm going to repeat it. At first, I wanted to do Healing Heroes as a web series. I asked who wants to write an episode. You virtually raised your hand high and was like, I want to write something. I gave you episode 5, and it's the only episode where the doctor goes off campus or out of his office, which I enjoy. I've given people the script sometimes, and some people are like, I don't like that he left his office. It's not that. But then you give them the whole scenario, and then they're like, oh, okay.
Right. Yeah.
So why don't you explain the episode you wrote? We didn't get to film it at all. It's still, I still have it. It's still in the back of my head for if Healing Heroes or when Healing Heroes. gets, it's there for more story.
Yeah, exactly.
So why don't you explain what you created and like how it came about?
Yeah, so the episode basically centers around Dr. Connors leaving his office to go to the campus of this school for gifted teenagers. Basically, it's supposed to be like a parody of the X-Men.
Yeah.
And there's a character that he's interviewing named Kyle Storm, who is I don't want to call him a mutant, but he has powers and he goes to school.
He manipulates energy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he uses it's like electricity, but he is obsessed with social media. And
I think that was one of the first terms I heard someone use fuckboy. You might
right.
You might have actually called him a fuckboy. And I was like, what's that? And then you like just read it, and I read it, and he is without doubt a fuckboy.
Yeah, he's very basic in all of the stuff that he
because it opens
is into.
up, if you don't mind me, I don't know.
Go ahead.
It opens up with the doctor going to his room and he's listening to All Day by Kanye West.
Yeah.
And there's just weed smoke in the air and he's like dressed like in a jersey. So it's like, from what you've heard, he definitely is a fuckboy. But I thought that was really interesting. That was a really interesting take on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and basically he has like a problem with connecting with people because he's so used to connecting with people through social media and texting people and stuff like that. He's so used to a virtual interaction that he finds himself unable to talk to a girl that he likes at his school because he doesn't know how to approach her like a normal human being. And he gets into a fight in the cold open of the episode, and he ends up being under house arrest. And that's the reason why Dr. Connors has to leave his office to...
Because Dr. Connors mentions that he never makes out-of-office calls, and they're like, nah, you really need to talk to him. He can't go.
Right. He's also a member of a team that's implied to be like the X-Men that the school like represents. And he's known for taking photographs with like taking selfies with people that he saves in the middle of battle, and that was part of the reason why they were like, okay, we need you to come deal with this guy
because he's obsessed with social media.
And
I love that. And I think this episode in my mind is where you really see how manipulative Dr. Connors is,
right?
Because throughout their session he convinces Kyle that Kyle doesn't need anybody.
Right, yeah.
So then Kyle ends up running away at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is very good. And one thing I'd like to bring up now is I like how you put a lot of your I don't want to say issues, but the things you face in real life into your work. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't mind me saying, like you've said that we all do have a hard time connecting with people.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I see that, like, especially with this project in particular, you were able to live through the character. Do you do that on purpose with your work, or is it just like kind of second nature? Because I write things that are just, I guess it's me saying stuff, but I guess just subconsciously it's me trying to get something out. Yeah.
I mean, it's a little bit of both. It's like kind of I don't really focus on it as I go into it, but sometimes I do because I want to create a sensation or at least a relatable atmosphere that whoever is enjoying the content, whether it be a book or film, TV series, they feel like or even music, they feel like they're not alone in their thinking.
Nice.
And I mean that's really important to me because I feel like there's so little of that that I connect with, and I like to create like an atmosphere of I'm trying to think of the word, like a fellowship, kind of like in different contexts, whether it's like, oh, I really relate to this character, or I really relate to this music, or something that connects, that makes people feel connected to something bigger.
To branch off that, you just reminded me of something. Mm-hmm. About 2 weeks ago, I went to Florida and I visited my sister.
Okay.
We saw a band, Taking Back Sunday, that she introduced me to when I was like 13 or 14. She was 12.
Yeah.
She was standing there. She wasn't she was singing along in that, but she was literally taking it all in.
Taking it in, yeah.
And it was really interesting to see. And then afterwards, she said something that is just it's I think about it every day. She says concerts, especially music, are very surreal.
Yes.
Because you go and everyone there has experienced them by themselves in the room, listening to them. Their music has brought some sense of joy, pain, has related to something. But then when you go to concerts, you share that moment with everyone you don't even know.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I never thought about it that way.
That's
so when
crazy.
you said like you create work for people to connect, like I think that's a definition of like an artist. Like that's what I always kind of forget about movies. Like the reason people are making it is because like they want you to bring it. You want to bring them into the world, whether it's a fantasy world, whether it's but they want you to connect somehow. And I thought that was interesting. Do you know? One thing I like about your music, I know we're branching off of Healing Heroes, sorry, but one thing I like about your music is it's very it's themed.
Yeah. Of course.
Every project is themed. I think that's what might make it fun.
Yeah.
You're not just making music to make music. You're not, know, you're. I'm trying to think of an artist like. Might be a bad example, but I feel like there's Gucci Mane just like puts out albums.
Yeah.
Like just puts out music
just
like
to make money.
Just to make money, or just like.
I mean, it's to each his own. Yeah,
that's fine, but he has so much music in a catalog. He just puts it out.
Yeah.
But you have someone like a Donald Glover. I was mentioning you earlier, Tory Lanez. He had like a Kendrick Lamar. They have like concept albums where where you do that. There's other, Zeppelin has concept albums, whether you want to think about it or not.
Exactly.
Like Physical Graffiti or I recently watched the 8 Days a Week documentary on the Beatles.
Oh yeah,
and they did like short film, or they did feature films based off of like the album
songs
Help
and albums. Yeah,
like that was before its time. Now you see everyone do it, like Drake, Gambino, Kanye West did it with My Beautiful Twisted Dark Fantasy. Like you see that, but it's like what is probably your biggest like inspiration? Who is or what is for making albums with like a story? Because you have been like, hey, I made this album, let's make a short film out of it.
Yeah. As far as that inspiration, I mean, I wouldn't say that it came from anywhere direct, at least not at first, because it was always in the back of my mind being a writer, because I was a writer before I was a musician. I started writing when I was about 13, and I started making music when I was about 16 or 17. Okay. And so there was always a thought in the back of my mind that I could make a concept album because I know how to tell a story that I could. I didn't feel like I was skilled enough at the time, and so I just sort of kind of went along and tried to make better projects as I went on. And then I got to the point where I was like, you know what, maybe I can make this happen. I think the moment that gave me confidence that I could do it was when I was Kendrick Lamar's Good Kid, Mad City, and seeing how he played out the narrative of that, I knew it was at least possible to do it with rap music. Because rap music is a little bit harder because there's not a lot of room for subtlety, and so it's hard to tell a story without nuance.
Yeah, and I don't want to sound like a hater or sound like anything like that. Good Kid, Mad City was just basically like, I don't want to say it was basically like this, but I felt like it was just a kid who was in the thick of like.
The
violence,
the bad parts of
but like
it was kind of autobiographical a little bit.
So like basically. So I just want to know, like that was very unique. If you think about it on like it's always tough explaining movies that are like unique, but like the premise of a story could sound so basic.
Yeah, and there would be so many layers under it,
like TV shows or anything like that. But it's pretty interesting. Now, do you think I'm gonna just use myself as an example? I am musically retarded. Sorry for the R word, but no.
That's pretty.
I know, but I don't know.
Taste.
I don't know how to play. I appreciate it, but I can't play any instruments.
Oh, okay.
But do you think a storyteller could come up with a concept album?
Yeah.
Like, do you think it like how much, like when you're coming up with a concept album, how much of a musician and how much of a storyteller are like, what's the percentages? Is it like 50-50? Or is it like 80% storyteller? I laid out the story. Now it's me just coming up with lyrics, instrumentals, all this other stuff that goes into making an album, obviously, more than one album. So like could a screenwriter come up with a concept album, give it to like a
musician?
Like what happened if Tarantino just gave hey, here's a concept album. Here you go, RZA, or here you go, Kanye West, or here you go.
I think it's definitely possible because as long as you know the ins and outs of how to create a story, the beginning, middle, and end, like you can create a concept album because part of constructing one is knowing how music affects emotion and how placing certain songs behind each other kind of work like plot beats in the story.
That actually, my buddies, we were on a road trip somewhere and we were listening to, I guess we were listening to Taking Back Sunday album. I guess it's themed now, but it was they broke it down on how like the first 3 or 4 songs are the ones to get you hyped, and usually the 4th or 5th track is a slow one, or like 4, 5, and 6 are kind of mellow to bring you back to earth, and then like, and I can't believe we forgot about Channel Orange. To me, seems like a concept album.
It does.
Back in the day, you and I were going to try and write something called like Super Rich Kids.
Super Rich Kids, yeah.
That's basically based off that album. But that's very, Frank Ocean's new album has a lot of songs that are like maybe a minute or 2.
Yeah.
I finally got to listen to that album, but
nice.
it's always interesting. I think. Not even in hip hop. I just think in music, like once a trend is presented, then
people,
like the trend of like hip hop artists doing pop songs. Kanye West, Katy Perry, Juicy J, Katy Perry, Kendrick Lamar, Taylor Swift, Snoop Dogg, Katy Perry. You have like all that, but I think it takes a certain kind of like intelligent artist to do like a concept album, rather than hey, I'm gonna make an album, then just make a short film about it, like Drake did. But
I mean, it depends on the creative process also, because a lot of people who make music, they don't know how to make albums, and there are a lot of artists who are just accustomed to making singles, especially in trap music and stuff like that. It's just like you kind of just doing it to get by. But if you're an artist that like kind of is trying to pave your own lane, it's not difficult to make a concept album as long as you know how music affects emotion. But even before I was knowing how to create or having the ideas to create concept albums, I was always very particular about track listing. I always knew, okay, I want this track to go here because it's really hype, but I don't want the next track to be really depressing or anything. I need something to bridge that, so I'll put like a love song in between.
Nice.
And it's like, just knowing the rainbow effect of listening to an album and how to take somebody on a journey from start to finish, and just putting a story in it, something that's compelling, that it doesn't even really have to be in your face or like, unless that's the type of story that it is. But like with my projects, I try to take them from a perspective that's very grounded. Even though the story itself might have fantastical elements to it, it's always going to have like a level where you can listen to it and not feel like you're getting a story. It's just music. And then if somebody is like, oh no, it tells a story if you really listen hard enough, then you can make the actual effort, but you don't feel like you're lost as you're listening to it. Like it's it's track 5 and it's like chapter 5 and it's like I have no clue what's going on and it just sounds weird.
I think that's what's good about music. You can make interpretations of what it is and what it isn't. But no. So what sparked the creation of Kyle Storm?
Kyle Storm, when I was first faced with the idea, when you came with the idea of a therapist that treats superheroes, the first thing I thought was like, this is obviously going to have satirical elements, lots of satirical elements, especially with the superhero genre. And I started to think of like ways that I could tackle that satire, but with something that is very contemporary that a lot of people are indulge in on an everyday basis, which is social media.
Yeah.
And I just thought about like the average teenager nowadays is just, obsessed with social media. Is kind of the only thing that matters to them. And they're obsessed with the likes and, all of the...
It's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like people maybe go to concerts just to get like the best footage of
Exactly.
Of whoever, and then
People go. It's like a job for them. They go to the club just to
stunt.
take snaps and and stunt, and drink, and take pictures with those drinks. Take pictures with pretty people, and it's kind of a full-time job for them to have a reputation. Kind
It's
of.
sad though, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean, because it's like you're putting all your energy into something that people will think about for like a second before they move on.
Yeah, because it. I don't know how many times I scroll through Instagram and I like stuff, but I never go back to like look at it.
Yeah, it's
You know?
it doesn't leave an impact, and that's the thing that people have to realize with social media. Because I get that way too. Because I mean, like, just with my aspirations and stuff, I imagine what it would be like to be able to be like, hey, I'm in the studio with Kid Cudi, and I like take a picture, and I can think about like what all my friends will think and stuff.
That
like
might
that.
be
But it's like,
that might be a little different, like if you're.
well, I mean, if you're achieving your dreams.
Yeah, that might be a
People-
little bit different, but you see like a James Gunn who directed, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
He'll post like funny stuff like the script or this or that, but or Kevin Smith, like
Yeah.
he's always he's a
mean-
fucking kid, man, like
Yeah.
because he's like I'm directing Supergirl, I'm directing Flash, like he's a big kid at heart,
Yeah,
and that's
but see, that's the difference. There is that, I guess in this particular situation is too because it's networking and it's part of the job of showing like the progress that you're making in your career. And I guess in that sense, it's kind of like that's expected. But when it
Yeah.
comes to like, I mean,
you're
that's
just you're a
human
10th
nature.
grader going to a concert, and
Yeah,
I
that's
don't.
just a human nature in me of like knowing that there's going to be some credibility that I'm going to feel
Yeah.
in my peers knowing that I'm
Worked with
actually
them,
doing
yeah.
stuff. Yeah, but other than that, it's like most people are just kind of doing it just for momentary value.
I never felt the first time I really felt old was or older. I shouldn't say old.
Yeah.
Was when I think it might have been a family event or something. Some of my cousins are still in high school or college, but they were like sitting there and like, oh my God, they got 100 likes. Oh my God, they got 140 likes.
Oh,
like,
yeah. It's
my
that
picture got
serious.
232. And I was like, that's a lot of likes. And then they went through my Instagram and saw like I maybe had 11 or 12 on a picture.
And they were
like laughing at me.
of course.
But I wasn't like not like laughing at me like feel sorry for me. It was like, oh my God, you're 26, 27.
Yeah, it's a game. It's a game
Yeah.
to them.
So I just think it's like I just kind of post cool stuff. Like I have Snapchat, and I still feel like an old man with it, but it's still fun to do.
Yeah.
I give credit to my sister. She doesn't have an Instagram.
Nice.
She doesn't have a Snapchat.
Nice. It's very
I don't know
free.
why she doesn't have a Snapchat, which is fine.
Yeah.
Instagram, a while, because she does photography. She's
Yeah, of
fucking
course.
great. She's great at it, and I'm not just
Nice.
saying that.
Yeah. Of course she would. Yeah.
But
would
she
use
is
that.
like, I don't need people putting a filter on there and saying that this is photography.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Instagram, since she said that, Instagram has evolved.
Yeah.
I know a lot of my friends, they actually take pictures on their T3i, on the Canon Rebel.
Mm-hmm.
They edit them, and then their blog, it's a photography blog.
Yeah.
I told her she should make one for her artwork or photography, and she's like, I'll think about it. But she has a
because
Facebook.
it's like a brand thing.
Yeah,
where-
but she has a Facebook page for it. But she's not, and like I said, I'm not disrespecting her. I'm condoning her.
Yeah.
I don't think she's doing this artwork to like sell it in a sense. She's doing it because
Yeah.
she loves it.
Loves it. Yeah.
And
you
she's
don't
just
need
like,
that,
look
yeah.
at what I just did. Like, and that's fine. But that goes back to what you said. Some people crave, like I was front row at Kanye West. I recorded his rant.
Yeah, that's how they find their own personal value.
Yeah, or there's Frank Ocean at the concert. Let me snap a photo, send it to who. Like,
Yeah.
that's how like people. And like I said, my cousin at the time when he was in high school, he said some of his classmates were really like I'm not going to school. I'm gonna be a Vine star.
Yeah, that's a
And
real
I
reality
was
for
like-
people now.
It's interesting that you use that element of like how kids are
Yeah.
today, and that's something I always try and do in my work. Like, I think you're very aware of your surroundings.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe I'm not. That's why I want to, like, I want to write stuff in that, you know.
I feel like you are, yeah.
We talked about that earlier, though, with Atlanta, the show, how just aware they are.
Exactly.
They always on their social media, they're like, stay woke, you know, like that
yeah,
shit.
yeah, right.
I think that's funny, but I think that's actually their theme of it, is that they're just aware. Like the one scene in the jail scene in Atlanta, episode 2, we were talking about that, how he touched on sexuality.
Yeah.
He touched on police brutality. He touched on mental health. He touched on homophobia in prison.
Yeah, in prison.
Because the one line, the guy was like, "Man, we in prison, all y'all gay," or something.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
And he's
And
like,
he
"No,
was
no, no.
like-
If we're having sex in prison, no, you fucked him. If you fuck a
You
guy
fucked him
inside, that's
outside.
prison.
Yeah.
You fucked him on the outside. That's gay."
Yeah.
And I know that's funny, but like seeing that guy's face.
Yeah, it was
like that seeing that guy's reaction to him
'cause
finding out,
yeah, he's
him
finding out
that
his
wasn't a
sexuality.
girl, that wasn't a girl,
Yeah,
like
in front of everybody.
broke my fucking heart. Like, I didn't laugh.
Yeah, yeah,
It
it's
was
hard
like,
to.
whoa. And then like, I like the one line when Don Glover's like, "Well, sexuality is
that,
just a
yeah.
spectrum. You can date whoever you want to date." He's like, "Man, shut the fuck up." Well, the guy's like, "No, that guy's gay as hell."
Yeah,
So it was
yeah.
that
It was,
I kind of chuckled at because of the timing.
it's dark humor. It's very well crafted dark humor. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's like it gets the reality of the situation and of the humor of the situation, because it's like it's fucked up, because I mean, like, he found out about who he was sexually in front of everybody, which is it's a very hard thing to go through. It's very
And think about it. Imagine if that guy didn't call him out on it.
Yeah, and because like
He would've-
it was just
But now
He would've just
thinking
kept
about it,
going.
is that guy mentally ill,
yeah no,
or did he just not
yeah.
want to face the facts? That
Right.
That was a
He
guy.
just didn't want to face it.
Yeah. So
it
it's
was like-
very interesting. But that's what I really like about like just work in general. But your work, you
Thanks.
try and bring a sense of reality into it.
Right.
So
Right.
you're much more than just writing an 8-page script for episode 5.
Right.
I don't know the order of events, so correct me if I'm wrong. I think I wanted to write 8 episodes.
Right.
I wrote the pilot and I wrote the ending. Then my father wrote Weeko Man. My buddy Josh Van Zant wrote like episode 3. My brother-in-law wrote episode 4. You wrote episode 5. I met a guy up here, Gregory. Unfortunately, him and I don't talk a lot anymore. He wrote episode 6, like Methane Man.
Oh yeah.
Episode 7, my buddy Christopher D's wrote. It was like a female Flash kind of character, The Charge, but it was pretty badass.
Nice. Yeah.
But you came to me and you're like, "What do you think?" Like, you're one step ahead. You're like, "Season 2, what's going on? Is this it for the project? Like, what did you see?" And I was like, "Oh no, I could write a season 2." And then you pitched it to me. So why don't you tell everyone what you really came to me with, like, about, well, it had to be at least 2 years ago.
Yeah.
3 years ago.
So basically, spoiler alert, Dr. Connors is evil. As you
In case if you didn't
figured
see
out.
anything or
Yeah.
heard any of these.
Just so you know, he basically gets captured towards the end of the season.
It plays off that way.
I just know he's out of the picture.
He makes his building burn down, and everyone thinks he died.
Gotcha. Yeah,
But
the audience will obviously. Be able to pick
but
up
the
on
audience would probably pick up. But he, because the 8th episode reveals his master plans.
it. Right.
But season 2,
it would start with basically we came up with this character who would be the next therapist. I always get
therapist. Think of it like
psychiatrist or
think about, because
psychologist.
he's the character's name is Julian.
Julian, yeah,
Which is funny because the actor Julian played Weeko Man.
Yeah, I know.
So, but the character Julian,
yeah,
like idolized
Dr. Connors.
It's like a Kendrick Lamar to Tupac, or
Yeah.
Kobe to Michael Jordan. like you just want to be him.
Yeah, it would be basically implied that Dr. Connors spoke at his school plenty times in the past.
You know who Dr. Connors is, but he has no idea who you are.
And Julian he's basically like fresh out of school, and he takes over the firm where Dr. Connors left off, but
Go ahead.
The thing that makes it the backstory behind him is that he was a sidekick to this Superman-esque hero who they fought crime together, and then he ended up dying, the hero, and so Julian kind of gave up on being a superhero and became a therapist specifically to treat superheroes, so that he could kind of get a psychological framework of why his partner died, or really just like understanding what I think I had it in my mind that he committed suicide, so it would make it a little bit more personal journey for Julian. It's like,
that'd be pretty intense and pretty
what
good.
Psychologically,
and maybe your character can really like bond well with Captain Cornelius.
Yeah.
Because maybe you reveal to only Captain Cornelius. Now, I didn't mean to interrupt you earlier. No, I thought that it was that you didn't take over the firm. I want to say we came up with like like later on that the superheroes were freaking out. And, and the receptionist, who now is called Andy, finds you though.
Oh yeah, okay.
Or you guys bump into each other, and then you guys both kind of like create
a new firm.
Firm. I wouldn't at that point. I probably wouldn't want her to be your assistant.
Yeah,
maybe like you guys like are like you're a therapist, and maybe she can be a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
But it all depends on, because just Dr. Connors disappears.
Yeah.
So it doesn't his building doesn't have to burn down, but like Dr. Connors and a few superheroes disappear.
Yeah.
But only Andy knows Dr. Connors disappeared.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, everybody else is just
else is just so then maybe
I like that
maybe you do take over. Maybe she's interviewing other doctors.
Yeah.
And then you're like, aren't you? And you could be the youngest one, and you come out the woodwork. And I'm saying you because you'd want to play the character.
Yeah. We established that I was gonna play the character shortly after he was his creation. That wasn't my choice. I'm not that vain. But.
Yeah, no. I figured, since you know the character, it would be something. You could do.
I'm definitely interested.
But yeah, I thought that was a really interesting element to it, because you've been very like brutally honest with like what you thought of the proof of concept, what you can add to it, all that. So I think that's a great like season 2 if we get there, because for season 1, the villain is
the Mirage.
Mirage. Yeah. Thank you. Sorry. I knew his name. His name was David Copper, like David Copperfield. But
cool.
The Mirage, like I'd love to just keep that maybe going, because I love how I made the Mirage related to Andy and their whole backstory with them and Dr. Connors. So I thought that was really cool. But I thought that was really interesting, because everyone always asks like, what plans do you have?
As far as
that, and I always say my buddy Quentin and I, we came up with this, and that's why he's being interviewed, or that's why he's a part of it, because you came up with a whole nother world. Like,
thanks, man. Yeah.
You added to the world, not you. So I thought that was really interesting.
Because I was honest from the start. Like it has so much potential. The idea itself, and I see a world from it, just from the concept alone, because you're gonna cover a lot of ground as far as the different heroes that come into his office and the different people that he meets, and just knowing that there are other heroes in this world that are both effective and not effective.
And it's so
it makes it a little bit more real,
so fresh.
Some of it was like, okay, you can tell Wico Man is for a gag.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, like, if there really were superheroes, you would expect there to be some dud heroes that aren't really doing too much, but they're there.
For you as a writing standpoint, and like maybe viewing the proof of concept and all like what we put on social media, what's been your like most enjoyable moment so far?
Man, that's a good question because I really kind of enjoyed the entire process because from the moment you told me, I felt invested as a writer because
Yeah.
to hear a project during its like seed phase and seeing it like truly unfold.
Grow, yeah.
Yeah, when you started casting people and you got asked me for my opinion on certain actors' auditions and stuff like that, and just seeing them perform what you had written, it was not envy because I definitely didn't feel envy, but I was proud. I was proud of you, honestly, because I was
I
like,
appreciate
man,
it. Yeah,
like
yeah.
I know that has to feel good to see your writing come to life
Yeah,
on screen,
it's
or at least in front of you.
yeah, it's always interesting during like the audition process. I don't know like how they do it in Hollywood. I'm sure like maybe David Fincher's not in the audition room when they're
Yeah,
there,
who
but like
knows?
if he wants to like bring in an actress and she reads it for him, then maybe she's
Yeah,
like, whoa. But like for any independent work, I know everyone who's an independent filmmaker, they're always in the audition room.
of course, yeah.
Excuse me. And yeah, just seeing people read your stuff out loud is just interesting. I saw Mark and Alyssa in person,
Yeah,
and Alyssa auditioned for Ganja Girl, but
I remember.
I realized Sheila Andy, the fucking receptionist, she had a lot more layers to it, and I thought Alyssa down the road could be that. I
Yeah.
know in the proof of concept she's just there, but
No, she did a good job.
Sheila's character is much more than just a receptionist. Wakande sent hers over video, and she sent it first. Excuse me. She sent it first and killed it.
Yeah.
Everyone came in, did Ganja Girl well. I showed Wakande to a few people, and they were like,
Yeah, you showed it to me, yeah.
her voice, her look.
Yeah.
I told them I was thinking about going with her, and they're like, awesome.
Yeah.
And then Ryan, like Captain Cornelius was like, man, it's tough to find like a big dude who's
Yeah.
an actor. Like I'm not trying to be rude, but like
Yeah.
how he looked. Like Ryan
I
looks
thought he
like
looked perfect.
looks
I was
like him, like a Chris Farley-esque character.
Yeah, yeah.
Some people who interviewed for Captain Cornelius or auditioned for Captain Cornelius were like skinny-ish or
Oh yeah. They're just trying to. I mean,
Get the
it
role,
works
yeah.
because like sometimes you can get and work your way into roles if you're good enough.
Yeah, exactly. But it was interesting. So, but I appreciate that. The compliments, man.
Yeah, man. No, because I definitely I was invested from the start, especially from a writing standpoint. It was kind of a gold mine of an idea because I mean every now and then I'll get ideas like that, and even they might not even come into fruition. But there are definitely some that I sit on, and I'm like, this is some good, like this is something that I feel like people would be like, why didn't I come up with that idea? And that's definitely what I thought when you brought it.
Hey, I'm really happy I
awesome.
did. A few people have told me it's an okay idea, which is fine.
I
Not
mean,
everyone
to
is
each his
gonna
own,
like
yeah.
your shit, man, which
Yeah,
is fine.
obviously, yeah.
But
sure.
I don't know. I'm kind of happy I came up with it. I just feel like I can't put it to waste. Like I feel like it's too good to like be more than a web series. I'm not saying that to like knock web series. It's just I want everyone.
You want more, yeah. You want.
I want a bigger world.
Exactly, yeah.
So
Yeah, you can only do so much with the web series.
exactly.
Yeah, unless you're Boz Lerman.
Yeah, yeah. What he did the Get Down?
Yeah.
Was that a web series at first or no?
No, it's on Netflix. All of the Netflix shows are technically web series.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You wouldn't even think, but
Then
if you look up like
Stranger Things, then
yeah, if you look up Stranger Things and like even the Marvel shows, it'll say like web series on Wikipedia, and I'm like, that's not at all where my mind went.
Yeah, no, that's interesting.
Yeah, I guess you watch it online.
Daredevil, all that, yeah.
Yeah.
Quickly before we run, tell me what you're working on. What do you got going on in the works?
Yeah. So
You want anyone to know? You want to tell anyone anything?
yeah.
Be on the lookout for.
Well, yeah, there's a lot coming up, but as far as where I'm willing to tell, I know, there's the album that we mentioned earlier. Third Stone Parties. I'm shooting for a release late December, but it's not set in stone until it's completely finished. And from there, I'll make like an official announcement soon. But yeah, you and I are working on a whole bunch of new projects. We're working on a short film currently.
Called Third Stone Parties.
Yeah.
That's not really.
It's gonna be like a companion piece.
Yeah,
so to speak.
yeah.
And we'll definitely have more information on that real soon.
Yeah.
That's coming together.
I just read the first probably 6 pages. You'd say.
Yeah, first 6
of the script that you wrote, and it was funny. I laughed at it a few times. Dialogue
Thanks,
was
man.
pretty on point. So.
Yeah.
So. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you doing this. I know we were trying to set this up for a while.
Yeah.
You were on a few episodes as a guest host or guest person, getting to meet people, but we got to talk about a lot of stuff, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, man.
All right,
Thanks
man.
for having me.
Yep. Until next time, guys. Thank you for listening.
Later.